and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we are here looking at a video from one of he's a preacher, but he's not like your typical preacher you see. He's not preaching hate and fire. He preaches love. He is probably one of the more Jesus-like preachers I have seen, because too often I have seen those who proclaim their Christianity also preach hate, preach evil. And it really does. It's irritating. Because you look back at the Bible, Jesus didn't say, hate this group because they are no. He's like, that's not what you do. And that's what irritates me. There's too many people who try to proclaim they're Christian and preach a Christianity like that. This guy doesn't. Reverend Ed Trevors. I think he's in Canada, from what I can tell. But yeah. He's got a video here. Kamala Harris is demonic. Come on. Really?
So, this one is something that I wished I could have prepared for a little bit more, because there were like graphics and there were images and there were tweets and there were really cool stuff that I could have shown you. So you're just going to have to imagine, if you can, for a second. So my wife sent me a meme that she found on Facebook. And this meme on Facebook was Kamala Harris. It was a really, really dark picture, right? It was a dark and stormy night, and Kamala Harris was standing there. Maybe I could do, I'm not going to try to do something with the lights here, but Kamala Harris was standing there, and behind her rose this demon. And it was a really scary looking demon. Like it was a really good drawing. Whoever did this work, like, it was really good. The artistry was fantastic. Now the caption of the meme was, I think the right is trying to convince me that Kamala Harris made the coolest heavy metal album cover ever. I would
Oh goodness, yeah. A lot of the heavy metal album covers tend to be very demonic looking, because it's something that's for a long time now been tied to heavy metal, even though many of your earliest artists in heavy metal, they weren't demonic. They weren't Satan worshiping. But that's what certain people would want you to think.
forever. I would listen to that album or something along those lines. It's hilarious, right? Their reaction to it was hilarious, but the meme itself was not their idea. The meme itself was somebody's idea, because we're hearing this. Just as we hear people saying that Trump is anointed and appointed, that Trump has been raised up by God to do this, that same crowd is saying she's demonic, she's evil, she's of the devil, she has the spirit of Jezebel. Oh, I love that one. I don't know what that one means really. I mean, I know who Jezebel was in the Bible, but the spirit of Jezebel. So she has the spirit of, so basically they're painting her with all these like really evil stuff, right? But the demon thing gets me. So you create this meme of Kamala Harris standing there with a really, really dark background. And behind her rises a demon. And the idea is to say, don't you see? The forces of evil are on her side. The forces of death and destruction and the forces of darkness are on her side. You mustn't vote for this person because they're demonic. And as I was thinking about this, I'm like, oh my God, what are they going to do the next time? Okay?
Yeah. I mean, how are you going to top yourself? This person's evil. This person's demonic. This person's vicious. What in Obama, a foreign Satan worshipping witch doctor? These are always these fear mongering tactics by the right wing. Again, I ain't saying there aren't those on the left who do never do this. There are. But it always seems to be more often than not right wingers who do this shit.
Again, this is 2024. What are they going to do in 2028? How are they going to delegitimize their political rivals in 2028? This is Beelzebul. Whoever this person is the devil. They were in the Garden of Eden. They tempted Jesus in the wilderness. This is the guy. This is who. What was it? The boy cried wolf. Right? The boy cried wolf. Remember that story? Kid goes out into the hills. I think he's supposed to be watching sheep or something like that. Goes out into the woods. Doesn't really want to be there. So tells the town, there's a wolf out there. The town, they all get together. They rush out there, with swords and spears and all their gear. And they're going to destroy this wolf. And they can't find the wolf. And so they all go home. And the boy goes back out. And he still doesn't want to be there. So he's, there's a wolf out there. And then they all go rush. The townspeople go rushing out. Oh, we got to get the wolf. And they go try to kill this wolf that isn't there. And so they go home again. This kid maybe. And the kid the third time says, there's a wolf out there. And they go out again. And they're, we're going to get this wolf this time for sure. And blah, 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 blah. And they no wolf to be found. A little while later, the kid goes back to the town. A wolf is coming after him. And he yells, help, 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 a wolf. And ain't none of them move. None of them move a muscle. And the story goes that the wolf ate the shepherd. The wolf ate the kid. He had cried wolf too many times. He had cried false alarm too many times. And not for nothing, if a bunch of Christians are getting together, and we saw this, was it the mid-'80s, I think. I was old enough to remember it, not necessarily old enough to understand its significance, but I was old enough to remember wanting to play Dungeons and Dragons and hearing all kinds of people tell me how Dungeons and Dragons were evil and how heavy metal was evil and how, some of the music that I would like.
Yeah. The famous satanic panics. The 80s and 90s. Oh, it's tied to devil. Oh, it's tied to Satan worshiping. No, it's not. But you just don't want to believe that because you've been told, this is what you must fear. And again, he makes the point here. How are you going to top yourself? You're going to hate monger. You're going to spread fear. There are things to criticize, but too often, it's often the batshit crazy things they want to say. The things that don't matter. You know, they have gone after Tim Walz. Oh, he left before his service, before his group was about to deploy. He had already made his mind up to go. He had been in service for 24 years. How long are you supposed to stay? Oh, I've already been in 80. Oh, we're about to go again. I better get ready. Seriously. They attacked Tim Walz because he said they used IVF. And it wasn't IVF. It was similar. It was along the same vein, but it wasn't exactly IVF. See, instead of attacking on things that make sense, they go after the most ridiculous, stupid stuff. You can attack Kamala for a lot of things. But instead, what are they doing? She's demonic. You could push her on the Israel-Palestine matter. You could push her on flip-flopping on things she has suggested she would do in the past. There are real things you could go after her for. But too often, oh, she's demonic. Does that scare you enough? Yeah.
Was evil, and how some, like, I was into rap as well. Oh, that's evil, that's of the devil. And video games, well, video games were definitely evil. You can't, like, Pac-Man is of Satan. But there was all kinds of, like, it was, we know it as the satanic panic. These people lost their ever-loving minds, pointing out how where demons were hiding behind every bush, behind every rock. Demons were in all the music, and God help you if you play it.
Yeah, I remember it well, the Satanic Panics. And what was it? The parents music something, parental music resource council. That's when they started putting all the warning stickers on CDs and games. Oh, it has certain content that may scare you. It may scar you. Wow.
It backwards. If you play it backwards, you're really going to hear it. Never figured out how to play music backwards, but I always wanted to. But the bottom line is, when everything was said and done, there was nothing to be afraid of. There was nothing for us to be afraid of. Dungeons and Dragons wasn't evil. Heavy metal wasn't evil. It was awesome. Rap wasn't evil. It was awesome. Video games weren't evil. Though, you know what? We do have to limit the amount of screen time we have. But there was no satanic evil. There was no malignant, demonic force in motion. It was just a bunch of people who didn't like certain things, and they attached demonic to it because they thought demonic would get more people riled up. And they were right. They thought by attaching the label of demonic to something, it would get people all worked up, it would get people all freaked out, it would get people up in arms. And they were right. And they thought that by attaching demonic to it, they'd get their way. So ultimately what it comes down to is they attached demonic to it because they were manipulative. They didn't have a leg to stand on. They didn't have a leg to say, we shouldn't let our kids listen to heavy metal. Because there was no reason. I mean, shoot, if you listen to if you read half the heavy metal lyrics of that day, they were powerful, and they were really, those lyrics deserved contemplation. They were amazing. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them were really fantastic.
Master of Puppets by Metallica. The song is about how a guy was so addicted to drugs, it controlled him. That's a serious message. That is something truly amazing. But when you hear a lot of people who've never even listened to Metallica, what do they think they are? Evil, devil worshipping, Satan worshipping. Oh, they're monsters. No.
There was a lot of... If you have to attach demonic to somebody in order to scare people so that you can get your way, you're not being an honest broker, right? You're not being ethical. That's not a moral way of convincing people to agree with you. It's not a moral, ethical way of getting people to walk the journey you would have them walk. It's manipulative. It is pathetic. It is weak. If your argument requires demon, you don't have an argument. If your argument requires satanic, you don't have an argument. When you have to tell a bunch of people that Kamala Harris is the devil, dude, you don't have a good reason to share with people that they shouldn't vote for her. You certainly aren't in that moment saying you should vote for my guy. All you're doing is it's an attack on her. And it's a really bad one. There's no substance to it. None. And when you do it enough, thankfully, when you do it enough, thank the precious Lord. When you do it enough, thank God for the way we are built. We will stop listening to you, and your voice will be meaningless. It will be nothing but crashing cymbals and slamming gongs. It will be nothing but so much noise on a Saturday night. Nobody will care what you have to say, because everything you have said up to that point, everything you've said up to that point was manipulative and empty. You have no real argument, no real debate. I mean, somebody sent me a meme today on Facebook. I have no idea. I can't even remember in the meme who they gave this credit to. Maybe it was Socrates or Plato or Aristotle. It was, but who knows? But the bottom line, the line was something along the lines of this. The quote was something along the lines of this. Character assassination is what people resort to when they've lost the argument. There is no argument here, so we're going to call it the devil. There is no argument here, so we're going to call her a demon. There's no argument here, so we're going to make fun of her laugh. There's no argument here, so we're going to talk about her kids. There's no argument here, so we're going to talk about who she dated. There's no.
Is she black? Is she Indian? I don't know. What does it matter? What does it matter? What does it matter? Him and his followers just seek attack. They don't even have to have a point.
Argument here. So we're going to attack who she is as opposed to her policies, because we don't have a leg to stand on if we attack her policies. We don't. and should never need to resort to manipulation in order to get people to listen to us. And we don't ever need to resort to manipulation and labeling people as demonic or anything else in order to get them to buy into our argument. What we need to do is make sure that we actually have an argument. We need to make sure that we actually have something of substance to offer. And when we don't have something of substance to offer, and we find ourselves in a situation where I just really don't like them and I really like my guy, even though I might not have a really good reason to like my guy, maybe we just shut up. Maybe we just don't say anything, right? Until you have a good reason, don't say anything. Until you've done the research, don't say anything. Until you've figured out what it is of substance you can offer to the conversation, don't say a word. Amen.
Yeah. Now, I have used demonic as a description, but usually it's because of people who do things to hurt others, that do things that attack others. And yeah, I've got so much anger and rage bundled up inside me. It's the best I can do without going really off on them sometimes. So yeah, still isn't right. But yeah, when they have nothing of substance to argue upon and they call them just demonic, that is definitely wrong. It shows you they have no real argument. And yeah, their ideations are close to nothing at that point. But yeah, check this guy out, Reverend Ed Trevors. Like I said, he feels much more like Jesus in what he preaches than some of these big church evangelical preachers you hear all the time who preach hate. Hate them because they believe differently. No. That is not what Jesus said. He said, it doesn't matter if they don't believe the same things. Show them kindness. Show them love. You know, I'm not even religious. I am very atheist, but this guy I like. Because he seems to follow what he preaches. You know, I read different texts through. I've done one for Greek mythology, one for Norse mythology. Right now I'm doing the Bhagavad Gita. And I will get around to doing the major Abrahamic religions, the Bible, the Quran. I don't have a Torah yet. So I'll have to wait on that. But yeah, I do have a copy of the Quran, copy of the Bible, Dead Sea Scrolls, and then I've got other religious texts we can look at. I'll be reading at some point. But yeah, this guy, like I said, I'm atheist, but he definitely seems a lot more along the lines of how a man of God should act, should speak. So yeah. Anyway, just wanted to take a look at that. We'll go ahead and end this episode here. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting this video in the links below the description. The link to this video in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.